In the noisy landscape of the world, finding peace at the end of the day is a quest in itself. Welcome to The Sleepy Skald, your dedicated retreat for narrative-driven relaxation and peaceful slumber. My name is Sven, and here we open the pages of ancient fantasy realms, not for grand quest, but for quiet, serene moments. We'll sit by a moss-covered hearth, listen to the rain, and let the busy churn of your mind slow to a gentle pace. Our stories are crafted as lullabies for your imagination, so dim the lights, get comfortable, and let my voice guide you down a peaceful path. Now, close your eyes, take a deep, slow breath, and let the story begin. Sweet dreams await. Chapter 1: The Frozen Beginning. The sky tears open like cloth ripped by invisible hands. Purple lightning cracks across the evening sky above Frostholm, and Bjorn Ironfoot drops his hammer on the forge floor, staring up through his workshop window at the impossible. The aurora borealis sometimes dances in winter, painting the sky in green and blues, but this is different. This is wrong. The lightning forms patterns that hurt to look at, geometric shapes that shouldn't exist, angles that make his eyes water and his head spin. Then, the demons come. They pour through the tear in reality like water through a broken dam. Dozens of them, hundreds, creatures of crystal and black and purple fire, moving too fast, their limbs bending at angles that violate every law of nature. They don't walk, they flow, they shift. They are wrong in a way that goes deeper than sight, deeper than sound, touching something primal in the human brain that screams run, hide. This shouldn't be. Bjorn runs to his house next door. "Helga," he shouts. "Helga, we need to..." But it's already too late. The demons are in the streets now, moving with terrible purpose. They don't kill. It's almost worse. They're organized, efficient, herding people into buildings like sheep, sealing doors and windows with crystal and growths that harden instantly, trapping everyone inside. A demon materializes in front of Bjorn's door before he can reach it. It looks at him with too many eyes, tilts its head with wrong angles, and raises one clawed hand. Bjorn grabs an iron bar from the ground and swings it with all of his strength. The bar passes through the demon like it's made of smoke. The demon's claw touches his chest, and ice spreads through him. Not cold, exactly, but the absence of warmth, the absence of life, the absence of hope. He falls. When he wakes, it's dark. The village is silent. And Frostholm belongs to the demons now. 3 days later, 5 figures walk a snowy road leading north from their captured home, each carrying their own reason for fighting back, each bearing the weight of what they've lost. At the front walks a large man with a braided red beard, carrying a warhammer that has seen better days. Bjorn Ironfoot moves like someone uncomfortable in his own skin right now. He's a blacksmith, built for working iron, not fighting demons. His hands are scarred from decades at the forge, and his back aches in the cold. Every step away from Frostholm feels like abandoning Helga, even though he knows with absolute certainty, that the only way to save her is to keep walking forward. Beside him walks a woman in practical furs, bow in hand, moving with the silent grace of someone who spent years in the wilderness. Astrid Ravenswarm, the village's best hunter, and she knows every trail in these mountains. Her dark hair is shot through with premature gray, and her eyes, they miss nothing. She doesn't talk much. Her younger brother Thomas is still in Frostholm, trapped with the others, and that's all the motivation she needs. Behind them comes Freya Snow Whisperer, with blonde hair constantly escaping from a messy bun. She's the village herbalist, dressed in layers of wool with pockets full of seeds and dried plants. She hums softly to herself as she walks, a melody that has no words, but somehow feels comforting. The Guardian's crystal, A gift from her grandmother hangs around her neck, growing faintly green. She's the only one with real magic, though she'd argue it's not magic exactly, just listening to what the land is trying to say. Sven jogs to catch up with the others, slightly out of breath. At 21, he's all nervous energy and genuine enthusiasm, tall and gangly with hair that never quite cooperates. He's a fisherman's son who's read every adventure book that ever passed through Frostholm, and now he's actually on his own adventure. He's terrified, and wouldn't be anywhere else. His father's fishing spear is slung across his back, decorated with leather strips he's added to make it look more heroic. And at the back, moving with surprising ease for someone who claims to be ancient, comes Harald the Elder. White beard stained yellow with pipe smoke, eyes that twinkle with secrets, a gnarled walking staff carved with runes. He's somewhere between 70 and older than the mountains. And he's the keeper of stories, the singer of songs, the one who remembers things everyone else has forgotten. He puffs his pipe and hums his own melody, counterpoint to Freya, creating an unconscious harmony. How much further, Bjorn asks. His voice carries the weariness of someone who hasn't slept in days. Astrid scans the horizon, and with a practiced eye, the Whispering Caves? Half a day if we keep this pace. We should reach them by evening. And what exactly are we expecting to find there? This is from Sven, who's already pulled out his journal to write despite walking. I mean, caves are great, very atmospheric, but why these specific caves? Harald chuckles, smoke curling from his pipe into the cold air. The Whispering Caves are old, boy. Older than Frostholm, older than the human settlements in these lands. The ancient peoples marked them as sacred, carved runes of power into the stone. If anywhere holds knowledge of what we face, it's there. You've been there before, Freya observes. It's not a question. Once or twice, long ago. Harald's eyes go distant for a moment. They show you things, those caves, truths you might not want to see, but truths nonetheless. They walk in silence for a moment, snow crunching beneath their boots, breath fogging into the cold air. The landscape around them is beautiful in that stark way winter landscapes are. Everything white and pure, trees heavy with snow, mountains sharp against the gray sky. But there's wrongness underneath the beauty. No birds sing. No small animals rustle in the undergrowth. Everything is silent and waiting. I can feel it, Freya says quietly, one hand touching the crystal at her neck. The corruption, it's spreading. Not fast, but steady, like a sickness moving through the land. Can you heal it, Bjorn asks, hope in his voice. Maybe, eventually, if we stop the source first. You can't heal a wound while someone else is still making it larger. Around midday, they stop to rest and eat. The meal is simple. Dried fish, hard bread, cheese that's starting to freeze, but they're grateful for it. They sit on fallen logs, brushing off snow, passing around a water skin. Tell us about your wife, Freya says to Bjorn. Helga, what's she like? Bjorn is quiet for a moment, but then smiles despite everything. She runs the bakery, best bread in 3 villages. She's stubborn, strong, practical. When I told her I love her, she said, well, that's convenient, because I love you too, you big idiot. That was 15 years ago. His hand goes to the simple iron ring he forged himself for their wedding. She'll be all right. She has to be. I'm going to get her back. We all are, Astrid says firmly. Thomas, Helga, all of them. That's why we're here. Sven is scribbling in his journal, trying to capture everything. This is exactly how the old stories start. A small group on an impossible quest. Heroes in the making. We're not heroes, Bjorn says. We're just people who couldn't leave things alone. That's what all heroes say, Sven counters, right before they do something amazing. Harald laughs at that. I sound like wind through old trees. The boy has a point. Heroes are just ordinary people who walk forward when everyone else turns back. You've already taken the first step. That's half the battle. They pack up and continue. The afternoon passes in steady walking, following Astrid's lead through the terrain she knows intimately. She points out signs as they go. Tracks in the snow, deer, 3 days old, she says. A tree marked by bear claws. Old marks. A frozen stream where the ice is thick enough to cross. As the sun begins its descent, painting the snow in shades of amber and rose, they reach the Whispering Caves. The entrance yawns before them like a mouth in the mountainside, surrounded by icicles that hang like teeth. Cold air exhales from the darkness, carrying the smell of stone and time, and something else, something chemical and wrong. The demon corruption has reached even here. They pause at the threshold. Bjorn checks his hammer. Astrid counts her arrows. 27. She'll need to make more soon. Freya whispers a small prayer to the earth spirits. Sven writes one more line in his journal with a trembling hand. Harald is utterly calm, as if he's simply arriving home after a long walk. I should mention, Harald says casually, that these caves are called the Whispering Caves because they whisper, echoes of the past mostly, sometimes prophecies, sometimes lies. The trick is telling which is which. And you're mentioning this now? Bjorn asked, incredulously. Well, you didn't ask earlier. Harald's eyes twinkle with mischief. Don't worry. Most of what you'll hear is harmless. Probably. Astrid lights a torch from her pack, and they enter. The cave swallows them immediately, darkness pressing in from all sides despite the torchlight. The walls are covered in ancient runes, carved by people whose names have been lost in time. Some of the runes glow faintly with pale blue light, pulsing like a slow heartbeat. And yes, there are whispers, soft and sibilant, coming from everywhere and nowhere. Some sound like prayers. Some sound like warnings. Some sound disturbingly like Freya's mother, which makes her stop walking entirely until Bjorn gently touches her shoulder. Not real, he says firmly. Keep moving. The tunnel slopes downward, deeper in the mountain. Side passages branch off into darkness, but Harald leads them with certainty, his staff tapping against the stone, as if he's walked this path 1,000 times. Perhaps he has. He's old enough. After what feels like hours, but is probably only 20 minutes, they emerge in a vast chamber. Stalactites hang from the ceiling like stone icicles, and in the center of the chamber sits a pool of perfectly still water, glowing with the same pale blue light. The memory pool, Harald announces, and there's reverence in his voice. One of the old places. Here, the water remembers everything that's ever reflected. The past, the future, the things that were never, but might have been. Why are we here? Astrid asked, always practical. Because we need to understand what we're fighting. We need to see where the demons came from, what they want, what we're truly up against. Harald approaches the pool, gestures for them to join him. Look into the water. It will show you what you need to see. But be warned, truth doesn't always comfort. They gather around the pool's edge and look down. For a moment, there's only their own reflections, tired and scared, and trying to be brave. Then the water ripples, though no one has touched it, and the vision begins. They see Frostholm as it was 3 days ago. Bjorn's forge glowing warm, Helga pulling bread from her oven, children playing in the snow, peaceful, normal, home. Then the sky tears open. They watch as demons pour through the rift, as their home is taken in less than an hour. They see inside the demons' minds, alien thoughts and colors and sounds that have no human names. But one thing becomes clear. Frostholm isn't the target. It's a foothold, a base. These demons are scouts for something larger. The vision shifts. They see the demon leader standing in the village square, massive, crowned with black crystal, radiating wrongness. This is what they'll have to face eventually. This is the enemy. One more shift. They see another location, deeper in the mountains. An ancient runestone covered in glowing runes, but cracked. Light pulses from it weakly, like a dying heartbeat. This is what the demons want. This is why they chose Frostholm. The runestone is a seal, holding back something worse. If the demons break it completely, the vision fades. They're back in the cave, staring at their own reflections in still water. No one speaks for a long moment. So we're not just saving Frostholm, Sven says finally. We're trying to prevent something even worse from breaking through. Yes, Harald confirms. The runestone is a seal, one of 9 placed millennia ago to hold back a demon horde. The seals are failing. If we don't reinforce them, everything falls. No pressure then, Bjorn mutters. A sound echoes through the cave, a chittering, clacking sound, like stones grinding together, like something with too many legs, moving fast. Harold's eyes widen. I should have mentioned. The caves have a guardian. Of course they do, Astrid says, already knocking an arrow. They scramble back from the pool as the sound grows louder, echoing off walls, coming from multiple directions at once. Torchlight catches movement in one of the side tunnels, something large, something with too many joints, pulling itself forward with terrible speed. The guardian emerges into the chamber, and Sven actually gasps out loud. Picture a spider, if spiders were made of living rock and stood 8 feet tall at the shoulder. Its body is rough granite, worn smooth in places by centuries of movement. 8 legs, each one as thick as a tree trunk, ending in points that could pierce steel. Its eyes are chunks of quartz that glow with inner light, tracking them with cold intelligence. And from its mandibles drips something that steams when it hits the stone floor. Acid or venom? Doesn't matter which, both will kill you. Spread out, Astrid shouts, already moving, already calculating angles and weak points. Don't let it corner us. Aim for the leg joints, where the stone is softer. They scatter like leaves in the wind. The guardian charges at Bjorn. He's closest, easiest target. He barely gets his hammer up in time, blocking a strike from one of those massive legs. The impact sends shockwaves up his arms, makes his teeth rattle, nearly tears the hammer from his grip. This thing hits harder than anything he's ever forged. The guardian's leg pulls back for another strike. Bjorn rolls aside, and the leg smashes into the stone floor where he was standing, cracking the rock, leaving a crater a foot deep. Astrid's arrow flies, striking the guardian's side, and shatters. Of course, stone. She switches tactics immediately. Another arrow flies, this one aimed perfectly. It strikes a joint on the guardian's rear left leg and actually sinks in an inch. The guardian shudders, lets out a sound like grinding boulders, and turns its attention to Astrid. Bad idea. The guardian charges, impossibly fast for something so large. Astrid runs, vaulting over a stalagmite, sliding under a low overhang, using the terrain like she's hunted here her whole life. The guardian follows, smashing through obstacles, leaving destruction in its wake. Freya is already moving, pulling pouches from her pockets with shaking hands. She needs time. She needs space. Bjorn gives her both. He charges the guardian from behind, hammer swinging for its hind legs. The impact rings like a bell, and actual cracks appear in the stone. The guardian whirls, one leg swinging wide. It catches Bjorn in the ribs. He flies back and crashes into a wall, sliding down gasping. Not broken, the guardian must have pulled the hit, or maybe his coat absorbed some of the impact, but bruised, badly bruised. Sven is frozen, spear held in both hands, watching the battle unfold. This isn't like in the books. In the books, heroes always knew what to do. They were brave and skilled and never wanted to run away screaming. But Sven very much wants to run away. His legs are locked, trembling, and he's absolutely furious with himself for being useless. Sven! Harold's voice cuts through his panic. The old man is beside him somehow, though Sven didn't see him move. Fear is wisdom, boy. It tells you what matters. Now what matters? Not dying, Sven manages? Good start. Also, Sven watches Bjorn struggle to his feet, watches Astrid running out of places to run. Helping them. Helping my friends. There we are. Now, fishing spear, water, stone. What do we know about stone? And suddenly, Sven remembers winter, when the docks freeze and have to be broken up so boats can launch. Remembers his father teaching him about ice expansion, about how water gets in the stone cracks and freezes, and splits even the hardest granite. Water, he shouts. Stone breaks when water freezes in the cracks. Very good, Harald says, grinning. Now I'll handle the water. You handle the spear. Harald slams his staff into the stone floor 3 times, and the memory pool explodes upward in a great gout of water. The water doesn't fall. It hangs in the air, controlled by Harald's will. Ancient word magic bending reality. Then it crashes down over the Guardian in a wave, drenching it, soaking into every crack and crevice of the stone. The Guardian reels back, confused, shaking itself like a wet dog. Water streams from its body, pulling on the floor. This is Sven's moment. He can feel it. Everything has led to this. He runs forward, terror and determination warring in his chest, and drives his spear into the largest crack in the Guardian's leg joint, a fissure Bjorn's hammer created. The spear sinks deep. Sven twists with all of his might, and something inside the Guardian's leg breaks with a sound like a mountain shifting. Freya throws her mixture. She's been preparing it this whole time, mixing ingredients with precision despite her shaking hands. Shimmering, multifaceted crystals harvested from the deepest ice caves, and a gray, inert powder milled from the bark of a century-old frostbitten ironwood tree. She whispers words that her grandmother taught her over the mixture, words older than Frostholm, older than human memory. The mixture hits the water-soaked Guardian, and instantly, ice crystals start to grow up the Guardian's leg. And crack! The sound is like thunder in the enclosed space. The Guardian's rear legs shatter entirely, pieces of granite flying like shrapnel. The Guardian crashes down, unbalanced, 3 legs trying to support what 8 were meant to carry. It's not dead, far from it, but it's vulnerable now. Astrid doesn't hesitate. She runs in close, closer than is safe, closer than is smart, and drives 3 arrows deep into the exposed joint where the shattered leg used to connect. The arrows sink into the fletching, finding the softer stone beneath, cracking it further. The Guardian thrashes, trying to right itself, one massive leg swinging wildly. It catches Freya, sends her flying. She hits the ground hard, the Guardian's crystal flying from her grip, skittering across the stone floor towards the pool. No! Freya scrambles after it, but the Guardian is in the way, its bulk blocking her path. Bjorn sees it, sees the crystal sliding towards the water, sees Freya trying to reach it, and he makes a decision. He charges the Guardian head-on, hammer raised, and brings it down on the Guardian's head with every ounce of forge-trained strength he possesses. The impact creates a crack that runs from the Guardian's head down its entire body. Once, twice, the Guardian shudders, tries to rise, and Sven is there with his spear, driving it up through the creature's mouth, between its mandibles, seeking whatever passes for a brain in a thing made of living stone. The spear finds something vital. The Guardian stiffens. The light in its quartz eyes flickers once, twice, then goes dark. The ancient magic that animated it for centuries finally releases its hold, and the Guardian becomes what it always was. Just stone, just rock, just a monument to something that used to protect this place. Silent falls in the chamber, broken only by their ragged breathing. "Everyone alive?" Astrid asked, already checking herself for injuries. She's scraped and bruised, but nothing serious. "Alive," Bjorn confirms, leaning on his hammer. He's shaking. They're all shaking. The adrenaline is draining away, leaving exhaustion in its wake. "I'm great," Sven says, his voice too loud, too bright. We actually... He's also crying, just a little, but pretending he's not. "We won. We actually won." "You did well, boy," Harald says quietly, placing a hand on Sven's shoulder. "Fear is honest. Courage is choosing to act despite it. You chose well." Freya has retrieved the Guardian's crystal. She clutches it to her chest, checking for cracks, relieved to find none. Then she kneels just beside the Guardian's remains, touching the stone gently. "It was just protecting its home," she says sadly. "It didn't understand that we weren't the enemy." "The demons did this," Astrid said, voice hard as the stone around them. "They brought chaos. They made everything a threat. That's on them, not us." From the Guardian's broken body, something gleams. Harald reaches in carefully and pulls out a fist-sized chunk of crystal, perfectly smooth, glowing with soft white light. It pulses gently like a heartbeat. "The Guardian's heart," he says with satisfaction. "This will help us out. Old magic, pure magic. Freya, you can use this to amplify your healing, your connection to the land. It will make you stronger." Freya takes the crystal reverently. The moment it touches her hand, warmth spreads through her fingers, up her arms, settling somewhere in her chest. Her magic, which has always been small and gentle, suddenly feels larger. Not overwhelming, just more. Like she was working with a candle before, and now she has a lantern. "Thank you," she whispers to the Guardian's remains. "I'll use this well, I promise." They rest for a few minutes, catching their breath, tending to their injuries. Bjorn has a nasty scrape on his arm, where a stone leg grazed him. Freya used her newfound power to heal it, and they all watch in amazement as the wound closes faster than it should, leaving only smooth skin behind. "We're getting stronger," Sven says, writing furiously in his journal despite his trembling hands. "This is how it works in the stories. Each challenge makes you stronger for the next one." "Let's hope so," Bjorn says, "because that was just a guardian. The demons will be even worse." They gather their things and prepare to leave the caves. The memory pool is now reflecting nothing, its purpose served. As they turn to go, the whispers start again, but this time they're clearer. Directions, instructions. The whispers are thanking them for freeing the Guardian from its eternal duty. They're pointing the way forward. Before they exit, Harald pauses at the memory pool one more time. He looks into the depths alone, and his expression doesn't change, but his grip on his staff tightens. "What did you see?" Astrid asks quietly. She doesn't miss much. "Possibilities," Harald says carefully. "Just possibilities. Nothing is certain, not yet." They emerge from the caves in the twilight. The world is painted in shades of purple and deep blue, and the first stars are appearing overhead. They're all exhausted, running on adrenaline and determination, but they need to make camp before full dark. They find a sheltered spot near the cave entrance, where the overhang provides some protection from wind and snow. Bjorn builds a fire with practiced efficiency. He's built 1,000 fires. This one is no different, even if everything else is. The flames catch quickly and warmth begins to spread. Freya makes tea from herbs in her pouch. She uses the Guardian's heart crystal to heat the water. Just a thought, just a small pulse of power, and the water steams. They all stare. "That's going to be useful," Astrid observes. The tea is the best thing any of them have ever tasted, warm and soothing, tasting faintly of hope and healing and promise that maybe, just maybe, they can actually do the impossible thing that they've set out to do. They eat in comfortable silence, each processing what they've seen and done. The vision in the pool, the battle with the Guardian, the realization that they're capable of more than they thought. Sven eventually breaks the quiet. "We actually won," he says, as if he can't quite believe it. "We fought a Guardian made of living stone, and we won." "We survived," Astrid corrects. "That's different from winning." "It's close enough for now," Bjorn says. He's thinking about Helga, about the vision in the pool. She's still alive. They're all still alive at Frostholm. That means there's still hope. He has to believe that. What did the pool show us exactly about the runestone? "It's 3 days' travel from here," Harald says, puffing on his pipe, staring into the fire. "Through the high passes, the demons will be there. There'll be many demons. We'll have to be clever and strong in equal measure." "And this runestone," Freya says quietly, "it's one of 9, all holding back the demons?" "Yes, the seals are ancient, placed millennia ago by powers that no longer walk this world. They've held for 3,000 years, but nothing lasts forever. The demons have been testing them, wearing them down, looking for weak points. And they found them. So we have to fix all 9 runestones?" Sven asks. That's huge. That's world-saving huge." "Yes," Harald confirms simply. "We restore the seals, or the demon hordes drown this world in darkness. No middle ground, no partial victories, all or nothing." They sit with that thought as fire crackles and the stars wheel overhead. The magnitude of what they're attempting should be crushing, should make them give up, should send them running back home to hide and hope someone else fixes things. But none of them move to leave. They've already taken the first steps. They've already proven they can fight, can win, can become more than they were. "Tomorrow we head for the runestone," Bjorn says, and there's still in his voice. He's made his choice. We'll either seal it or die trying. Either way, we don't give up. Agreed, Astrid says, checking her arrows, already planning tomorrow's route in her mind. Agreed, Freya adds, cradling the guardian's heart crystal, feeling its warmth and power. Agreed, Sven says, enthusiastically, writing it all down, already composing the saga. Harald just smiles and nods, smoke curling from his pipe into the cold night air. He knew they'd agreed. He'd seen this story before in other forms, other times. Heroes are born in moments like this, when ordinary people refuse to accept the unacceptable. They take turns keeping watch through the night. The stars will, the fire burns, and 5 unlikely heroes rest, preparing for the trials ahead. When Bjorn takes his watch, sitting by the fire, with his hammer across his knees, he thinks about the Guardian, how it fought to protect its home, how it couldn't tell friend from foe, only saw intruders, how in the end, they had to destroy it to move forward. He wonders if that's what they'll all become, protectors who can't tell friend from enemy anymore, warriors who fight so long they forget what they're fighting for. He touches his wedding ring and remembers Helga. Home. Simple things worth protecting, worth fighting for, worth walking into impossible danger to preserve. He won't forget. None of them will. They'll hold on to their humanity, their compassion, their ability to mourn even enemies when necessary. That's what will make them different from the demons. That's what will allow them to win. The night passes peacefully, no demon attack, no corrupted creatures emerge from the darkness. For one night they're safe, protected by the cave's ancient magic and the Guardian's final blessing. In the morning, they'll pack up and continue, but tonight they rest. 5 ordinary people on the first step of becoming an extraordinary journey. 5 people who will change the world, though they don't know it yet.